SuperTalk Mississippi media production. Pike County, here comes your morning show. Dave in the morning on 93.5 FM, SuperTalk Mississippi.
So now, understand, you're not going to dictate to me what I do and what I don't do, but I'm still the mayor, Mr. Flam.
Bloody angle, the symmetry. Your cheap adhesive isn't holding me. My mouth is a gun I can shoot. I can show you the truth. No pun intended, no punishment. If I offended you, you needed it. Ideas are the bombs in your mind. I'm Fisher in time. If you don't have a weapon, you can't have mine.
None of this meeting is recorded. None by any parties. Correct?
No, sir, mine is recorded. I'm being accused.
In the conversation.
Said I want to make it on record. I want the allegations in writing, or the accused, or on recording of this harassment.
And now, here's your host, Dave Hughes.
It could be worse. I'm not really sure that's the descriptor you want to use to start your day, but here we are. It's cloudy, it's wet, it's raining, but it could be worse. You gotta search for the positive in there somewhere. Speaking of which, welcome to the second North Pike Thursday on a Friday in a row. At least this time it's not just online. So we are, again, it could be worse, right? North Pike Thursday, Friday, brought to you by the folks at Macomb Wholesale Paper and Chad Reed, your Shelter Insurance agent. And joining us in studio now, we have someone, I love having conversation with coaches like this because it's not your normal thing. And here's what I mean by that. Everyone knows the big three when it comes to athletics. The football, baseball, basketball. That's what everybody knows. There's a lot more going on than just that. And we have with us here from North Pike, the volleyball coach, Aaron Skeen. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Glad. Doing pretty good. And I'm not getting anything out of you. Hold on a second here. There, that's better. Okay. Now, did you make it over here? Did you make the long drive over?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Or did you walk? Well, no, not today.
No, not today.
Tell us a little bit about the volleyball program over at North Pike. How many people do you have participating, and how's it going?
Well, this is our second year to have a program, and we expanded. Last year, we only had a JV and a varsity team, and this year we actually have a junior high team as well as a JV and a varsity team. So we have about 26 players.
Okay, very good. That's
Yes,
just
sir.
enough to start having trouble keeping up with them.
It can be challenging at times, but we've got some big personalities, so I know who to look for if they're not there. But no, it's a lot of fun. They work really hard. We're seeing progress being made. Specifically from last year to this year. We only played 8 games last year. We started the season 0-4. We lost our first 4 games, and then we won our last 4 games.
Nice.
So in the span of the 2 months that we played, we got better. I mean, there was clear progress shown. This summer, I say this summer, after season is when coaches sit down and make their schedules. So district schedules are released usually end of October after playoffs or beginning of November by the High School Activities Association. And then you fill your schedule with non-conference. Well, we're not in a district. So I really set out to do two things: to schedule who I think we would be in a district with when we get put in a district this coming year.
I was about to say that's coming up
Yeah.
because we've got redistricting about to happen after this year.
So I looked at what district we would be in, and I tried to schedule those teams. And I looked who went to the playoffs in their districts that were surrounding us. Because iron sharpens iron. We're only going to get better if we play the better teams. And so I set out and I made a very ambitious schedule. It's a lot. It was a lot. We're halfway through. I think we've had 12 games and already, and we've still got probably 10 more to play.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That's a bit of a
made
bump
a big
from last
schedule.
year.
Yeah, I made a big schedule.
So how's it going this year?
Well, there's a lot of improvement. Junior high has never touched a ball before. These 7th and 8th grade girls, and they're learning so much. And I have to remind myself that they've only been playing this game since July, and we're young and we're going to make mistakes and we're not going to serve well at all times and we're not going to know what to do when the ball is hit to us every time. And we're working on that. We're working on reflexes and hitting balls on an angle and getting to when there's a ball hit between 4 players, that it looks like chaos on the court sometimes. But we're learning who's going to step up and be aggressive and take the ball and all of those types of things. So
basically with them, because they are just getting started, they're brand new, they have no clue what's going on.
Yeah.
Still probably a bit more knowledgeable than I would be in that situation, but they're running around trying to figure things out.
Well, they are learning the game really well. So they are figuring things out as we go. And we won, junior high won last night. We've won 4 games, I think.
Oh,
Junior
nice.
has won 4 games, I think.
Nice.
So, they're figuring things out, and that's fun to watch. It's comical at times. There's some things that happen that you just, as a coach, you just kind of shake your head and smile and let it happen. It's going to happen regardless of what happens. But if a girl on the opposite team gets hit with a ball, and the girls want to laugh and you're like, we don't do that.
Oh, no.
But you really want to. It's really teaching them how to remain composed and in a competitive style, not laughing. And, we got to work on that still. But
Don't get too excited about the highs. Don't get too down about the lows.
Right.
You got to stay in the middle on everything.
And I even talk with my older girls, and my experienced girls, and we don't have any seniors on the team. So, we're still young as far as varsity goes. But even reminding them, when the wheels fall off, when nothing is going our way, we've got to keep playing. Because that negative mindset it feeds each other, and then we are all just standing there like statues and zombies and like we don't want to be here. We can't do that.
Well, I do have a question about the game itself, because at family reunions and out on the beach and whatnot, I think everybody has tried their hand at volleyball.
Yeah.
My go-to move, by the way, and you might want to take and share this with them, the face ball.
Oh, taking it off the face.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It kind of softens it a little bit, makes it easier to control. Doesn't make you easier to control, but the ball kind of calms right down as it drops to your feet with an impression of your face on it. Are there actual plays that you guys work on?
We do try to run an offense. So if we are serving the ball, we'll serve the ball, and then we want our setter to get to a certain spot on the court. And when we get the ball back over our side of the net, we want the first ball to go to our setter. because the setter is like the quarterback. They run the offense. So the setter's job is to get it to the hitter to attack over the net. And depending on how many hits each girl has had, the setter really gets to make the decision of who to set the ball to. In theory, that's how that would work. That first ball pass isn't always to the setter, though. So that's something that we're still working on, is controlling where the first ball goes to. And that's the first rule we work on in practice, almost every practice, because we still struggle to get it to our setter. And our setter moves. Like, it's not like she just goes and camps out at this one spot. Like, wherever the ball is hit, if it's got enough hang time in the air, she's trying to get to that ball. But if she's got to go so far to get it, there's not 100% accuracy in her pass either. So she's going to try to get it to a hitter that's closest to her on the court. So it's just, and then in a defensive standpoint, if the ball is on the other side of the net and they're getting ready to attack, we, depending on who is in the front row, will go up to block at the net. And when they go up to block, we've got to be in a defensive posture and standpoint in the back row to know if she's going to go up to block, we've got to be running in for a tip. We've got to be deep if they hit it deep in the court, and just, we've got to be quick on our feet. And that's something that we're still working on as well.
I didn't realize it was this complicated.
Yeah, it's not just as easy as see ball, hit ball.
That's what that's all I've ever done. So I assume that's what it was.
Yeah.
But holy cow.
It's a lot. When you get into the technical game of volleyball, it's a lot. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun when things are going right.
But that's a lot to keep in your head when you're out there playing.
It is.
And to analyze and to process while you're trying not to run into somebody else.
And that's another thing, is kind of directing traffic and knowing, okay, like I always tell my setter when we're moving on the court, like, you've got to kind of direct the traffic. You've got to be like, I'm coming to the outside, or, you know, if you go up, then whoever spot that's closest to you, they've got to cover back. So, I mean, like, we work on all of those things in practice, but then in the game situation, sometimes we get kind of muddled up in the middle, and I have to tell them, like, reset. It means go back to, you know, because we've got to make sure that we're playing full court instead of just all muddling up right there at the 3-meter line.
It sounds like you're doing what in Dixie Youth in the young ages, because you are very much in the young age, the early stage of learning volleyball.
Yes.
So I think it's an apt comparison. Called a magnet ball. You hit the ball, every kid on the field
runs to the ball.
Runs to the ball, yeah.
Right.
And that's not the way that works.
No, and it's we are working on trusting each other on the court, and trusting that if the ball is hit in your vicinity, theoretically there should be 2 players that a ball should be closest to. And I've told one player this yesterday, you're not on an island by yourself. I don't want you to feel like you have to take every single ball. You've got to trust the other 5 on the court with you. And then I turned around and looked at them, and I was like, y'all have got to step up and play the balls. I know it's hard. Sometimes they're coming in at an angle. They're floating. Like we've got a couple of float serves on us, and the ball's moving, and they're, you know, in between 2 players, and they both look at each other. Somebody's got to step up and take the ball, and so we're still learning who's going to be the more aggressive players.
How much aspirin are you going through a week right now?
A lot.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I kind of figured
lot.
that.
That and cough drops. Tuesday, I didn't think I was going to have any voice. But I didn't have to yell a whole lot yesterday. But Yeah, I'm going through some cough drops and some Aleve, some Tylenol for the headaches. It's a lot.
So if you run into Erin somewhere and you say, "Hey, how you doing?" and she goes, "Fine."
All right.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Just let her rest her voice. How long do you have left in the season? You're about, close to halfway done?
We are halfway done. Yeah. We, our last game is October the 3rd.
Okay.
So we're
we're in
the middle of season.
Are you looking for people to come watch and support the team?
We have pretty good attendance at home games, and most of our parents travel well to away games. We would love for anybody who's interested in the sport of volleyball, if you want to come and watch, please come. It's a fun atmosphere. If you don't know anything about the sport, and our girls cheer, and some of their cheers are just silly. And
Good.
And one of them, I hadn't heard it. It was maybe last week. They did a cheer, and I went, I just deadpanned to them while I was coaching. I was like, what in the world? And they started giggling, and I was like, okay, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite cheer, but it was so silly. And, I just kind of shook my head and scratched my head, and I was like, what in the world? Where did they make that up at? But
yeah, but
it was fun. It was funny.
School, when you're a kid, if you don't have some amount of silly allowed in your life,
that's true.
Something's going wrong. So yeah, that's good.
And I usually encourage anything fun that's not derogatory, or I don't mind the cheering. I don't mind the playing as much. I like to have a loose practice. I don't like to be so strict and regimented, because then the girls don't want to play. I want them to have fun also while learning the skills. And, one bad apple can spoil the bunch. And so I've already had to deal with a couple of issues. But I think we've got that worked out, and it's a fun time.
That's part of the aspirin usage.
Yeah.
That's just part of coaching.
Yeah,
that's the way it works. Next game. When's your next game?
Our next game is Monday, and it's a home game for us, and it's our only game next week. So we do have a short break in our schedule. But yeah, Monday is a home game. We play Jefferson County. It's a JV and varsity, so it'll be at 5 and 6.
5 and 6 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
And you guys play in the gym, right?
We do. We do.
It won't even matter if it's raining.
That's right. That's the one good thing about volleyball is we play rain, shine. It doesn't matter. We're inside.
Has anybody hit the ceiling
all
yet?
the time?
Okay.
Because we have a short ceiling.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
I was going to
Other schools, I look at our short ceiling and practicing in our gym as a blessing, because other schools' gyms have high ceilings, and so our girls are always like, man, I wish we had high ceilings. And I'm like, yeah, but when they come to play us, we have an advantage, because we're used to playing with a short ceiling, and they're not.
And they haven't worked on the ricochet pass yet.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
You got to use it to your advantage.
Right.
Didn't mean to bounce it off of there and score. Sorry. And then go on about your business. Yeah. So 5 and 6 on Monday at the gym. Mm-hmm. Show up.
Yep.
And be ready to cheer.
That's right.
And be ready to apparently participate in some occasionally silly cheers. I hope so.
Yeah.
I like that. Erin Skeen, good luck. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Gonna get you a gift basket of pain relievers for Christmas. That seems appropriate somehow.
I would appreciate it.
Get you a 30-minute meditation session somewhere.
Yeah.
A good half hour of just sitting in an empty, quiet room going, while a sitar is playing. I think would do you some good right now. North Pike Thursday, brought to you by the folks at Macomb Wholesale Paper and Chad Reed, your shelter insurance agent. We continue on this Friday morning on SuperTalk, Mississippi, Pike County, 93.5 after this.
He's coming in 12:35. The moonlight wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melody. He turned to me as if to say, hurry boy,
Did you get us switched over to shelter insurance?
Actually, I found a deal online.
You did. Does your deal come with award-winning customer service?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Does the deal include a local agent?
Doesn't actually say.
Can we create a customized plan that fits our needs? Let's just call the local shelter agent.
For insurance that fits just right, find a shelter agent near you.
Come see me, Chad Reed, at 800 Rock Street for all of your home, auto, and life insurance needs. We're your shield, we're your shelter.
Macomb Wholesale Paper Company has been servicing our area for years with quality supplies. Macomb Wholesale Paper is your local source for supplying your office, restaurant, concession stand, or household, cleaning and janitorial supplies, food service items, and more. Got an event coming up? We offer daily rentals on popcorn machines, snowball machines, and cotton candy machines. Call 601-684-5521 or visit our new location at 1036 Gordon Covington Road in Summit. Macomb Wholesale Paper Company, delivering weekly to Macomb, Summit, and the local area.
We're from the country and we like it that way. Dr. Romance for Selman's Jewelers. For 75 years, Selman's has served the wonderful folks of this area with fine quality jewelry, watch, and giftware needs. From natural and lab-grown diamonds to baby goods, silver jewelry, and much more. Selman's Jewelers on Delaware Avenue has worked hard to provide you with quality, service, and value. Come see us today. Layaways and financing available. Selman's since 1945.
Don't miss Dave in the morning, even when you miss it the first time. You can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. SuperTalk 93.5 is always the place to be. Wanna get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have to pray. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page.
North Pike football is back. It's another exciting season of North Pike Jaguar football on SuperTalk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, Toyota of Brookhaven, Ag Up, Exhaust Pro, Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center, Peterbilt of Macomb, and Lot Furniture. It's North Pike Jaguar football on the air at 93.5 FM. Available online at supertalkpikecounty.com and through your Alexa devices. SuperTalk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. And I'm starting to pick up on a lot of things that are worrisome to me, that also point out some of the holes in logic that is touted by everyone. We have talked about it many times, that everything is polarized. Everything is black or white. Everything is right or wrong. There is no in between, when in reality, all of life is a gray area. Just about everything. Here's the example that I use, and unfortunately it's somewhat relevant to the story we're going to talk about, the school shooting over in Georgia, the developments that came out late yesterday about that. Murder is wrong. Killing another human being is wrong. It's right there in the Ten Commandments. I think we can all agree with that. If somebody kicks in the door to someone's house and a mom shoots someone in the face to save their kids, Is that murder still wrong? There are no absolutes. There are no rock solid 100%. I can tell you for a fact this is wrong or right, but we have decided to pretend that that is the case, and I don't personally believe it is. Well, the shooter, Colt Gray, had his first court appearance just a little while ago. 4 counts of felony murder, 14. The judge told him he could face life in prison or the death penalty. Then the judge had to come back a little bit later and clarify the death penalty is not a possibility for Gray because he's under the age of 18. Someone explain this to me. I would love to hear the explanation for why if you kill 4 people when you're 14, well, you're not eligible for the death penalty because that would be awful. But if you're 18 and you kill 1, well, it's on the table now, buddy. That makes no sense to me. It seems that this is a case of leaning towards trying to be overly considerate of the person that commits the acts. My thoughts on that only. I realize that. There's going to be plenty of dissension about my opinion here. There usually is. I got used to that a long time ago. So you've got that. Now you have a twofold issue, secondary issue. I'm sure you've heard by now. His dad, Colin Gray, 54 years old, had bought his son, allegedly, the AR-15 that the boy used to go kill people at school. So now they've arrested him. He's got some second-degree murder charges. He's got a long... I think there's more charges against the dad than there are against the kid, honestly. Now, you couple that with the fact that the suspect's mother has a record of prosecution over 4 counties over a 17-year period. She has been prosecuted for domestic violence, drug possession, property damage, traffic violations, civil fraud charges, and was in jail as recently as April. That's the mom. The dad bought him the gun. I'm not saying the dad wanted him to go do that. Obviously, he didn't. But now I would like someone who likes to sit around and boil everything down to a neat soundbite and a slogan that we can use to explain what's wrong with America and how we need to fix things. I would like someone to explain to me how this could happen when the dad was in the home. This is the argument I've been making for a while. It depends on the dad. It depends on the mom. This kid, you know, the mom wasn't obviously an option looking at the record and the crime she had been charged with over the last 17 years across 4 different counties. So, it's really hard to, and there will be people that will do it. They will make their best effort to boil this down to something simple. Life is not simple. We do not have simple problems. We have never had simple problems. We used to treat them more simply. I got a running joke at my house. Every time there's, you know, a bug that gets in the house that needs to be taken care of, fall back on the Old West defense. Did you kill this person? Yeah. Why? He needed killing. Well, you got a good point. Case dismissed. You've seen it in movies. So we used to have a simpler outlook on things. Not saying that was better or worse. What I am saying is, as the world gets more and more complicated, we can't fight back by trying to pretend everything is simple, neat, and easy. We have to look at the problems as they exist. And again, is the problem the gun? No. Is the problem the Discord channel he was talking in? No. Is the problem the vehicle that took him to the school? Because without that, he wouldn't have been able to do it, right? Right? That enabled it. I don't care if it was a school bus or dad dropped him off or a friend or whoever took him to school. Well, are they culpable somewhat? No. The company that made the food he ate for breakfast so he had the energy to go do that, they've got some blame too, right? No. That's how ridiculous this can get, and that's why I will never subscribe to the idea that it's the gun's fault. We need to get rid of the guns. The guns are the problem. If he doesn't have the gun, he doesn't hurt anybody. Wrong. Again, we keep seeing all the attacks overseas with knives and swords, and in the case of London, they keep having somebody going around shooting people with a bow and arrows. People will find a way. And while on one level I understand the concept of, well, we don't need to apply the death penalty to a 14-year-old, well, if the other punishment is life in prison, what are you hoping to learn? What's the point of prison? To rehabilitate. If they're never going to get out, they're not going to get rehabilitated. And even if they do, what are they getting rehabilitated for? To have a better time in the exercise yard? We have reached the point where a lot of the things that we do make no sense. And the reasoning we have to do them that way makes even less to me. I know, this is a real upper of a conversation on a Friday. We try to go out on Friday on a happy note. Not today, because as these details continue to come out, and don't think we're done, we're going to get more nonsense to come out of this. You know we are. But the father was in the home, and this still happened? Right, it's never that simple. It's never as simple as, it's the gun's fault, take those away, and this won't happen anymore. It's never as simple as, well, and you've heard that phrase. How many times have you heard that phrase? Fatherless homes. Well, you got to have the father in the home. I keep saying this. I will continue to keep saying this. It depends on the father. There are some kids that are better off if the father isn't in the home. I'm not saying that's the case here. Because again, there is no blanket one-size-fits-all situation that we're dealing with across America. And we have to quit pretending like it is, and we have to stop trying to find that one perfect panacea solution that will cure all ills. It doesn't work that way. Human beings are the most headstrong, stubborn, stupid, foolish, beautiful group of creatures ever to exist. And we have to treat it like that in everything. And we don't. Why? Because it's hard to get elected saying things like that. It's really hard to get somebody on your side saying things like that. You got to boil it down to a soundbite and come up with that one specific bad guy that we can attack, that we can say, that's the problem. It's never that easy. It's never that simple. And the longer we continue to pretend that it is, the worse things are going to get. So we'll see how this advances. If the death penalty isn't an option, he's going to jail for life. He's not getting out of this. You got witnesses, you got security video, you got everything. No, he's done. I suspect the dad is done. The word is that he bought him that AR-15 as a gift. Christmas present, to be exact. So yeah, I think they're both done. I think they're both going away. It's a sad situation across the board for everybody involved. But I'm just saying we need to quit looking for reasons to give people special treatment. You're 14, you're 10, I don't know. I mean, if you're 2, yeah, that's an accident, obviously. But again, we have that arbitrary cutoff of 18, unless you want to get a drink, in which case the arbitrary cutoff is 21, because you can be trusted to have a gun at 18, just not, a beer. None of it makes any sense. All of it is arbitrary. All of it is designed for everyone to be able to say, well, we're doing something. Why isn't it working? This is horrible. It's the gun's fault. No, it's not. Shut up. And I mean that sincerely. Well, once again, I feel like I've ticked off everybody. Oh well. Mo says the Supreme Court ruled a few years ago that the death penalty for those under 18 was cruel and unusual punishment. Seems to me, if you've ever been around a 14-year-old boy, locking them in a small room and not letting them ever go anywhere ever again is a bit more cruel than that. To me. I agree in the disagreement with that Supreme Court ruling, but once again, it is what it is. We continue on this Friday morning, hopefully with something more cheerful. Right after this, keep it here.
Just wanna be with you right. Just wanna be with you all night.
We're from the country and we like it that way. Dr. Romance for Selman's Jewelers. For 75 years, Selman's has served the wonderful folks of this area with fine quality jewelry, watch, and giftware needs. From natural and lab-grown diamonds to baby goods, silver jewelry, and much more. Selman's Jewelers on Delaware Avenue has worked hard to provide you with quality, service, and value. Come see us today. Layaways and financing available. Selman's since 1945.
Don't miss Dave in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. Super Talk 93.5 is always the place to be. Want to get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all around, it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the crave. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Weekday mornings at 6 after 9 on 93.5 FM, or you can catch up anytime by going to
SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave in the morning at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. Catch up and catch on. North Pike football is back. It's another exciting season of North Pike Jaguar football on SuperTalk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, Toyota of Brookhaven, Ag Up, Exhaust Pro, Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center, Peterbilt of Macomb, and Lot Furniture. It's North Pike Jaguar football on the air at 93.5 FM. Available online at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com and through your Alexa devices.
I would swallow my pride, I would choke on the rhymes, but the lack thereof remain empty inside. I would swallow my doubt, turn it inside out, find nothing but faith in nothing. I wanna put my tender heart in a blender, watch it spin around to a beautiful oblivion. Rendezvous, then I'm through with you.
Welcome back, Super Talk, Mississippi Pike County 93.5.
I'm not as ugly, sad as you.
Let's take a look at the weather because we got a little bit of rain left and then a beautiful weekend on the way, and the temperature forecast has changed yet again. No longer do we see the number 5 at the start of any of the low temperatures. I think they got nervous. They didn't want everyone to be disappointed. Still pretty close. Pretty close. Low tonight, 66. Tomorrow night and Sunday night, the low now in the official forecast, 61. Low of 67 Monday night, 68 Tuesday night, 68 Wednesday night. The highs, though, are going to stick pretty close to around 80. High today, 75. Tomorrow, 84. Sunday, 82. Monday, 85. Then after that, starting on Tuesday, 81. Wednesday, the high is going to be 77. So we're kind of settling into some more decent temperatures. We do have another chance of rain today. New rainfall amounts for Pike County. Yeah, we're looking at less than half an inch total, which is what we got yesterday. The official reading yesterday in Pike County, the observed value of precipitation fall at the airport, 0.56 inches. The record was on that date in 1977 when we got just under 2. That was a big day. We've had 44 inches of rain so far this year in Pike County, which is basically right on schedule. It's just a hair under average. Last year, during the great drought of 2023, at this point, we had only had 35 inches since the start of the year. So we've had 10 more inches of rain this year than we had last year. That's better. It got a little crunchy a couple of days there, a couple of weeks, but nothing compared to that nonsense we had to go through last year. And we're fine with that. All of this rain is still coming off of that little area of, well, technically it's a tropical disturbance, but come on. It's got no chance to develop in anything. It's just sitting there spitting out rain. And it's going to continue to do that today. Possibly longer, but not much. We haven't gotten the rain off of this here in southwest Mississippi that we were expected to. I mean, we were looking at 2-3 inches. We have not had that much. So far, so good. We're now back down to a total of 3 areas in the Atlantic. That one next to Texas, the one up north of Bermuda and continuing to go north, and one right down on the Yucatan Peninsula. I'm telling you, the tropics, if you go look at the steering currents, if you go look at all the other weather activity going on, the tropics are a mess right now. There is very little chance for something to have the space to develop. As you can tell, I am heartbroken by that. I don't know how I'm going to sustain myself. It can stay messed up. I'm fine with that. Completely fine. They have released the job numbers. I'm sure you're going to get 30 minutes about how it's good and or bad for business owners. But the job numbers, 142,000 jobs added in August. It's being called a sign of a slowing but steady job market. Number one, it can't be both. If it's slowing down, it's not steady. Steady means it's unchanging, I thought. But words, we just make them mean what they want, what we want them to mean, depending on the message we're trying to send during an election year, right? Added 142 jobs, which sounds great until you realize at the same time that they released that, they have revised the job numbers for July and June. 86,000 fewer jobs across those 2 months than were originally reported. So you cut that in half and you're looking at 43,000 per month. So you subtract that from the 142,000 jobs in August and assume that the trend continues. Well, in a couple of months, we'll find out we only had 99,000 jobs added for August. This is the problem with all these numbers that they put out. 142,000, well, that's not as good as we were expecting, but it's not that bad, so it'll be okay. No, it's much worse than you think it is. The 2 previous months got revised downward. As all of these numbers are suddenly getting the revision treatment and all being revised downwards, I say suddenly, this happens all the time. This is regular. It's just most people never notice it. Most people don't realize that this happens. That doesn't change the fact that the June job report numbers and the July jobs report numbers were both, well, we're back to selecting the word we want to use. If you're being kind, you can say they were inaccurate. If you're being factual, you can say they were a lie. Either one of those is, except whatever the reason, I don't care what the reason is. When everybody's watching this, when the Fed is watching these numbers to decide what to do about interest rates, when the economy is tanking and you're off and overestimate the numbers by 30%, no excuse. That's ridiculous. Interest rates are going to get cut. If they cut them too much, we're going to have a completely different set of problems. But we'll wait and see. I just wanted to point out that, yes, they have released the job numbers, and the job numbers are probably not as good as they sound like they are, and they don't sound good to begin with. Have a good weekend. Yeah, I know. A couple of things. We've had a lot of wildfires over the last couple of years, especially out in the western U.S. A study on wildfires has determined that a lot of them are caused by avian ignitions, which is a fancy way of saying birds are bursting into flame. Now, when you read that, when you hear that, you think, what, just like a firework? They're flying along and suddenly, whoosh. No, they fly into power lines. When they fly into power lines, sometimes they burst into flames. I guess if you've got a dry bird, I don't know, but they sometimes burst into flames when they hit the high voltage, and then the burning bird carcass falls to the ground and starts a wildfire. In Colorado this year, 3 wildfires have been started by burning birds. I cannot believe we have to have this conversation. Between 2014 and 2018, there were 44 wildfires that were started by birds exploding, birds catching on fire. So we have talked about, the dangers of windmills to birds. That's been an arguing point on both sides of the whole climate discussion. What about your birds exploding? How come no one ever talks about that? Minding your own business, and then suddenly Tweety has to be renamed Crispy. Now, I don't know if there's really anything that can be done about that. Not that I can think of, not without an exorbitant amount of expense. But I think we can still make it a little bit better. We can make it more palatable, literally, if we install some sort of, automatic seasoning shaker.
If you cry
up there on the poles, at least then, if Heckle and Jekyll come flying up and go, the surge in heat activates a thermal detector. A little robot arm comes out and it goes. I don't know. I'm looking for something to make it into a positive here. Work with me. Final break. Close it down for a Friday next.
Let me take a step towards you. Let me feel you in my hands. Let me cross this line and show you where it leads. There's a darkness down inside me that I know we'll both enjoy, and it's screaming from within to set it free. I have left this bloody nightmare in my way out of sight. I want
We're from the country and we like it that way. Dr. Romance for Selman's Jewelers. For 75 years, Selman's has served the wonderful folks of this area with fine quality jewelry, watch, and giftware needs. From natural and lab-grown diamonds to baby goods, silver jewelry, and much more. Selman's Jewelers on Delaware Avenue has worked hard to provide you with quality, service, and value. Come see us today. Layaways and financing available. Selman's since 1945.
North Pike football is back. It's another exciting season of North Pike Jaguar football on SuperTalk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, Toyota of Brookhaven, Ag Up, Exhaust Pro, Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center, Peterbilt of Macomb, and Lot Furniture. It's North Pike Jaguar football on the air at 93.5 FM. Available online at supertalkpikecounty.com and through your Alexa devices.
Don't miss Dave in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. SuperTalk 93.5 is always the place to be. Wanna get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the crave. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave Hughes here. Remember, every weekday morning at 9:06, it's Dave in the Morning, where we solve the problems of the world, or at least complain about them really loudly and sarcastically. And if you miss out, you can catch up with the podcast version of Dave in the Morning at supertalkpikecounty.com.
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world.
Don't forget, big, huge, enormous game tonight, and you can hear it right here on 93.5 FM and online and through your Alexa device. And I'm pretty sure we're training parrots right now to come give you the play-by-play repeat at your window if you want.
So finish your whiskey.
6:30 we start, 7 o'clock kickoff. Gonna be a whale of a game tonight, and we'll have it. Bowie will have every single second of the action for you this evening right here on SuperTalk Pike County. Tonight, also, listen for the boom. The Boeing Starliner capsule is returning to Earth tonight. And I say listen for the boom, I don't mean sonic boom. It was built by Boeing. There's a non-zero chance it's going to blow up. They're bringing it back with no people on board. It's not designed to do that. They had to modify it so that it could return to Earth without a human being on board, but they don't want to put a human being on board because, well, yeah. The preparations have begun to disentangle it from the space station and return it to Earth. They say the hatch is now closed on the Starliner as it starts its preparations. And if there's one thing we know, the doors on Boeing stuff work real good. Hopefully it won't run into the space station while it's disengaging. That's all we can hope for at this point. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe. We'll do this again Monday morning at 9:06, my friend. I'll see you then.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.